there's never been a crowd more pumped, more thrilled to be able to hear from you here today. Right, guys? So here we go, Chuck. I know that our time is limited, and I know we want to hear some of the great history of your work. So we want to get right to some questions. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, because most of them want to know about Bruce Lee. That's what they want to know, right?
That's true.
Okay.
So if you haven't met, so this is Chuck, clearly. This is wife Gina. And I want to start off our questions here with the beginning of your career. So we go back to 1969 when you had a role in a film called The Wrecking Crew with Dean Martin.
Well, which one are we using?
So for this question, right, we all know Chuck Norris started with martial arts and then obviously that transition into films. This was one of those first films. How did you get that role with Dean Martin in that movie?
Well, you know, Bruce and I are working out together, and which I'll tell you a little bit later after this. But anyway, when we're working out, you know, I'm teaching him my techniques, and he's teaching me his techniques. And then one night, Bruce Lee and I were working out. After we finish, Bruce tells me he has been signed as a stunt coordinator for a film called The Wrecking Crew, which stars Dean Martin and Elkie Summer. This was back in 69.
Maybe before many of them were born.
Fighting. Anyway, he says, there's a role that I think you would be good for. And you would play Elkie Summers' bodyguard and fight Dean Martin. Wow, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's okay. Everything was going great in the movie until my fight with Dean Martin. I had to throw a spinning kick over Dean's head. So I asked Dean how low he was going to bend so I'll know exactly where the kick should go to. I want him to bend so I know where to throw the kick.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, Dean shows me how low he is going to bend. So I see where he bends over. So I said, okay. So the fight begins, and I throw the spinning kick over where he was going to bend. Guess what?
He didn't bend far enough.
He didn't bend over at all. And I kicked him right in the shoulder and sent him flying across the room.
That's amore.
And I said to him, are you okay? He said, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. Don't worry. And then, so anyway, Dean, I said, okay, let's do it again. So this time, I said, I'm thinking, Dean, I don't care how low you bend, I'm going up here with my kick. It's going to go right over his head. So guess what happens? He drops all the way down to his knees, and my kick goes up here. So I said, well, that didn't work. So the director says, what are we going to do? I said, I know what to do. This time I'll do it right. So I said, so anyway, I get with Dan and I work with him, and so he does the bend. Anyway, he bends like he's supposed to, and I throw him a kick, and it goes right over his head. And so anyway, that's how I started. That's how I did my first film.
There you go. That was where it started it all, right there with Dean Martin. It doesn't get bigger than that back in 1969.
They got me all screwed up here tonight because they're changing everything. Because they said, well, I don't have the time to talk the whole hour. So now they're changing everything around on me, so I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be saying tonight.
So let's get right to the good stuff.
So anyway,
we all want to know what happened here with Bruce Lee. So we know you developed a friendship with the legendary martial arts master, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was it like training and working with Bruce Lee?
Well, you know, after winning the international championships in 1967 and 1968, I got a call from Aaron Banks, the promoter of the World Professional Championships. He asked me to fight for the middleweight championship against a guy named Luis Delgado. And it will be held at the Walter Astoria Hotel in New York City. He says, what do you think? Would you like to do that? I said, yeah, I think I will. So anyway, I had 3 months to prepare for the fight. The night of the event, there was over 20,000 people in the building for the championship. Aaron Banks tells me that Bruce Lee is there. I go, really? Yeah, he is sitting at the front table of the ring. I go, really, man? And so as I get in the ring, the first person I see is Bruce Lee. And Bruce, and so anyway, I'm staring right at Bruce Lee, and he's staring at me. And Luis Delgado, my guy I'm going to fight, enters the ring. But I'm still looking at Bruce Lee. I don't even look at Delgado. I'm still looking at him. And then he said, and finally he says, you better start watching him. I says, you're right. This guy's a tough fighter. And so anyway, I get off my. Yeah. By the end of the fight, I had scored more points than Lewis did, and so I won the award. I won the award to the championship. After I win, Bruce Lee looked at me to come over to him. I exited the ring and walked over to him. We started talking about everything. I asked Bruce, don't you live in Los Angeles like I do? He said, yes, I do. So we decided to begin working out together. We trained together 4 nights a week. Bruce showed me his techniques, and I showed him my techniques. We trained together for over 2 years. Then one night, he tells me he is leaving for Hong Kong to begin his movie career. I didn't hear from Bruce for over 2 years. Then one day he called me and said he has done 2 movies and they were very successful. And now he is getting ready to do the 3rd film called The Way of the Dragon, or Return of the Dragon. The Way of the Dragon, you may know it, or Return of the Dragon.
Anybody Way of the Dragons fans out here?
Anyway, the movie is going to have the best fight ever done in film. And I want you to be my opponent in the fight. He says, it will be done at the Colosseum in Rome, Italy. It will be 2 gladiators in a fight to the death. So anyway, beat of all, we can choreograph the whole fight together. But Bruce and I knew each other so well after all these years. I knew exactly what he's going to do. So when we started doing the fight scene, he said, this is what I'm going to do. And I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. So when you see the fight, we just put it together right there on the ring. Anyway.
Most people don't know that.
The sound, this sounds very exciting, but I'm curious, Bruce, who wins? I'm only kidding, of course. But anyway, he says, that is funny. I'm the movie star, so I win. I said, well, I figured as much. You want to beat up the current world champion. Bruce laughs and says, no, I'm going to kill the current world champion. So anyway, now I laugh and said, I figured that was what you were going to do. Bruce, but I'd say, Bruce, I have to tell you, you're the only man I would allow to have someone kill me like that.
Hey, honey.
That's true. I wouldn't let anyone else do that. Bruce says, I know.
It's a rare honor.
Tell him. Everybody asked in that fight scene when Bruce Lee grabs his chest hair. Everybody remember that? And just rips it out. Tell him what you say.
I said, Bruce, don't do that.
And then,
I said, you can pretend like you did, but don't grab the hair.
and what would you have done if he had really grabbed it?
I said, otherwise we're going to be in a real aggressive.
You don't want to get in a street fight with Chuck Norris. No, you do not. So, Chuck, I know we have a lot of questions we wanted to get to. We had some of the stuff, your early work. Let's talk about some of the later work. Expendables 2. You worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger. We talked Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
Sylvester Stallone. Jean-Claude Van Damme. What was it like working on Expendables 2?
Well, you know, I did that movie with Stallone. And, anyway, when I did Expendables 2 with Sly Stallone, we were getting ready to do a scene. When Sly said to me, these Chuck Norris facts are all over the world. And I said, yeah, I know.
We were reading off some of our favorites here earlier, Chuck.
Yeah, I believe me.
Yeah.
And he says, let's put one in a scene. What do you say? Anyway, my wife Gina walks over and says, I have the perfect one for you to do, Sly. And so anyway, Bruce and I start doing the fight, the scene, the talking scene.
Sly?
And when we started, Sly. When we started the scene, Sly says, I heard you were bitten by a cobra.
Does anybody know this one? Okay.
I said, yeah, that's true. And after 5 days of agony, the cobra died.
That's pretty good. Now, Chuck, I think that's a good place we can kind of pivot here for a second. We brought up the Chuck Norris facts. I mean, how did that whole thing get started?
You know, about 18 years ago.
No, it wasn't 18 years ago. In 2006.
Back in 1966, we started the Chuck Norris facts.
Well, anyway, a fellow from Brown University sent me 3 Chuck Norris facts. And they were really funny. But I thought, well, that would be the end of it. I just thought that'll be it, you know. And anyway, that was it. Yeah, it was 2006. That's 2006 when we started this thing. And it's funny. After the 3, I said, well, that'll be the end of it. Next thing you know, I start seeing more and more facts coming out, and from the college kids. Anyway, after it went up to we're focused over millions now. And
Yeah, he says to me, he goes, honey, this is just a fad, it'll be over in like a couple months. I'm like, okay, well.
Maybe a couple decades.
But anyway, the thing is, the facts went to the colleges, universities, then to the schools, high schools, then the middle schools, and then militaries started really getting into it, military. Anyway, and I get a call from the general in Iraq, in Iraq, and in 2000, and he says, the military is crazy about these facts of yours, and they called and they asked me if I would try to get you to come over to Iraq to see them. And I said, I would be glad to do that, but I don't want to get up there and stand on a thing like this and go, hi, everybody, like I'm doing now. I'd rather be in there touching you guys, too, truthfully. But anyway, I said, if I can go out there to the banks and see them personally, then I'll come over. He says, I can make that happen. So I go in 2006 to Iraq, and I go to 17 different camps. And I take pictures. take pictures with 25,000 military guys. It's like meeting all of you here. It's the same feel. It's the same feeling I got. It's like meeting all of you. It's like meeting him. And so anyway, I go back home and I said, you know, General, if you want me to, I'll come back again in 2007. And so he says, okay. So I go back in 2007 and I go to all the camps again. And I take pictures to almost 30,000 military. But one of the group, I have to tell you now, here's the funny part. You know, I'm doing it for Navy, Army, all of them in Marines. So anyway, I got a group of Marines I'm taking pictures with. 40 of them lined up. So the Marine comes up, first Marine comes up. I'm ready to, you know, put my arm around him. He says, will you give me a chokehold? So anyway, I get him in a chokehold. They take the picture, and he walks off. Next Marine comes up, get me in a chokehold. So I get him in a chokehold. Next one. So one after another, each one wants a chokehold. All the way down to now number 32 comes down. I take a picture, I get him in the chokehold. What I do, the cameraman is changing film. So he's down there changing film, and I got him in the chokehold. And so I kind of lay my head down on his shoulder. Anyway, he goes unconscious. He falls unconscious to the ground. So, guess what happens? All the Marines come running back in, taking pictures of him unconscious. As you should. And so I get down there. And I'm pumping him back. You know, finally I get him back up, and he starts walking off. I said, that's it. No more chokeholds, guys. That's it. Anyway, he becomes famous. The guy became famous. And all over, you know, I heard about him, you know, being choked by me. But one of the most exciting things for me, personally, if you're Marines, you know, I'm an Air Forceman. I won the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. And that's how I got my black belt. I went to Korea in 1959 and made my black belt over there, and that's how I started my whole career. But
You got 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we only got a couple minutes left here, Chuck.
But
Give us the good stuff. Give us your favorite stuff.
Oh,
In fact, let's do this. I know since we have 3 minutes left, you've got some great answers here, Chuck. You've done so much. Walker, Texas Ranger. We got the Chuck Norris facts, which we all love. You've got Way of the Dragon. You've got, I don't know how many action films you've been in. Probably 1,000. It's probably lowballing it just a little bit. What do you want to be remembered for most? What do you want to be remembered for most?
Can I answer that one?
yeah.
Let me answer that, because that is a great question, and I think it's a perfect way for us to leave y'all until tomorrow. Can I read it to you?
Please do.
I think it's better when someone else talks about the other person instead of them talking about themselves. So, if that's okay, let me honor you for a minute. So, I know my husband, we've been married 21 years. We have 7 children and 13 delicious grandbabies. But I know my husband as a kind, honest, and humble man that would like to be remembered as a committed Christian. A man who loves his God, has loved and served his country, loves deeply his family and his friends, and has worked tirelessly to make a positive difference in the lives of at-risk children. Quite simply, you'll be known as a humanitarian forever.
I have to tell you all, you know, when I first competition, my first karate tournament was here in Salt Lake City.
Yeah! Way to represent!
In 1964, I took 3 of my students. My schools were in Los Angeles. I took 3 of my students and myself, and I drove my old car all the way to Salt Lake City to compete in this tournament. And so anyway, they're just, and they're beginning students. They're beginning students. Anyway, we fight. I win my first 4 tournaments, but my 5th one beat me. I said, okay, I got beat, but I'll never get beat the same way secondly. I said, because I was mostly a kicker at that time, you know. But I started learning a lot more kick, hands, and all this stuff here. But
so
my 3 students won all 3 of their championships.
And you ended Salt Lake City on a high note.
So anyway, they're holding their trophy. Well, I drove back home. and they were excited, talking about their winning the championship and all this stuff here. And so I started thinking, okay, I may lose again, but I won't ever lose the same way. But I won 183 films.
No.
Championships, rather.
Yeah, championships.
183 championships. And I lost 10 championships.
And you've won us over here in Salt Lake City.
Hey, let me
Chuck
tell
Norris,
everybody.
everybody. Give it up for Chuck Norris.
I love you all. I love you guys.
Everybody, one more time, please give it up for Chuck, the humanitarian Norris.
Bless you all.
And go get yourself some Seaforth water, Chuck.
It's with Mavericks, everybody. You can get this at Mavericks and Harmons.
Right here in Utah.
They once named a bridge after Chuck Norris. They had to change the name. Nobody crosses Chuck Norris and lives.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think that may be leading the clubhouse so far. Yes?
Chuck Norris drives an ice cream truck made out of human skulls.
We went dark. We went dark there, Chris.
Do you know, wait, stop.
We're getting a line here, and I think at some point we have to cut it off, but
I'll tell you
go
what,
ahead.
I'll tell you why I'm irritated, guys.
Oh, now we've made Chris upset.
I have
'Cause that's
told
important.
probably hundreds of jokes at all the different FanXs we've ever had, and we've never had this much laughter when you guys tell your jokes.
Now you're feeling a little pain, aren't you? You're like, wait, they could laugh the whole time?
I didn't think they could
And
laugh.
they weren't doing it for me? Now you made Chris feel bad.
No, Brian, but we have
You want to make him feel better? Tell us a joke, Chris. Tell us a Chuck Norris joke.
I am not.
Tell us a Chuck Norris joke, and we promise not to fabricate our laughter at all. Go ahead. Try it out. Do you want to hear a joke from Chris? Oh, they do, Chris.
You know, when the boogeyman goes to bed at night, he doesn't check. I know it. Fine.
When the boogeyman goes to bed at night, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. Don't screw it up.
I was gonna say under his bed, Brian.
Either way, he's still there in the room.
You know what? This is one that Stuart came up with, our stagehand Stuart. Come here. He made this one up himself. Stuart, yes.
Stuart, come on up here.
What did a 0 say to the 8? Nice belt. What did Chuck Norris say to 8? I'm gonna roundhouse kick you to infinity. Oh, you guys are the worst!
So Chris, are you gonna? Do you have a joke you can successfully pull off here, so we can get you some laughter, so you can sleep tonight?
No, I don't. I don't have a successful joke, I can tell you guys. But I will say this, Brian, we gotta go backstage. We'll get 2 more jokes to head backstage.
All right, 2 more. I know this guy's been waiting here.
Global warming does not actually exist. Chuck Norris got cold and he turned up the sun.
That's good. All right, I'll give it to our last, most excited fan in the line. I want to see the Joker. Turn around here for everybody. Do you like the costume? Huh? What's your joke, boss?
Jesus may walk on water, but Chuck Norris can swim through land.
Not bad. Not bad, especially in a religious town such as ours. All right, give it up for Chuck Norris, fans, everybody. Good work, everybody. Good work. Good jokes.